When life feels like a hurricane, sometimes the greatest victory isn't climbing the mountain. It's remembering where we left our keys. Or, let's be real, brushing our teeth before collapsing face first into bed. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Coffee, Crochet, and Conversation. As always, I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to dive into the magic of small wins. Because sometimes surviving the chaos deserves a gold medal all by itself. So, our weekly check-in after weeks of slow climbs on the treadmill. This week I cranked up the speed. My brain is thrilled, because apparently it needs to believe I am auditioning for Survivor Cardio Edition before it thinks it counts as exercise. Crochet, I finally got inspired for a new project, repurposing old shirts. But of course, the universe said, cool idea, but you need a special tool. So now I'm in the waiting zone, basically staring at my yarn like it's going to magically transform itself if I glare hard enough. Patience is my stitch of the week, but I'm excited to see if it turns out like it does in my head. Other than that, the weather finally broke, which feels amazing, but it also means pool season is ending, which I'm not thrilled about closing it down, but I am thrilled to stop fishing soggy leaves out every morning. Bittersweet win. Oh, and the seasonal shift has brought my son's allergies in like a freight train. Apparently, ragweed can pump out like 1 billion pollen grains in one season. So, no wonder his nose is starting to stage protest. Autumn, you are gorgeous, but low-key rude. All right, friends, it's your turn. What is your gold medal moment this week? Did you finally fold the laundry before it became a geological layer? Did you remember to drink a glass of water before your coffee? Although, who does that? Or maybe you just survived Monday without Googling, can I live in a fort blanket forever? Whatever it is, big or small, I want to hear it. Send me your small wins so we can celebrate together. Because around here, we clap for the little stuff just as loud as we clap for the big stuff. Remember, friends, the small wins keep the big storms from blowing us over. So let's keep cheering for the little stuff. Because honestly, that's what keeps us human. And hey, if you want to share your gold medal moments with me, you can always drop me an email at coffeecrochetpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can hop over to my link tree where all the good stuff lives. Because I'd love to hear your wins. If you survived Monday and remember deodorant, that deserves a parade. We're going to jump into segment 1 here, but as always, mind the scratching noises because my cats love to make recording session playtime. So let's talk about small wins, because honestly, they do not get enough credit. A small win can literally be anything. Restocking the Twinkie stash, boom, victory unlocked. Finally putting away the laundry instead of living out of a wrinkled mountain on the chair, or, in our case, the cat litter hideaway stand. Major triumph. Drinking your coffee before it goes cold, or my personal favorite, drinking my coffee and no one talks to me until it's gone. Honestly, that should come with a medal and a check. The thing about these tiny victories is they matter more than we think. They're momentum builders. Think of it as building a snowman. You start with a snowball and you grow it from there. You do one little thing and suddenly you feel like, okay, maybe I can handle the next thing too. They're mood lifters. Because who doesn't get a little serotonin and, okay, technically a dopamine too, hit when something is actually finished? That is your brain's reward system saying, yes, more of that, please. And honestly, they're sanity savers. No win is too small. If it makes you feel like you accomplished something in the chaos of your day, that's a win worth celebrating. Even if nobody else notices it, maybe just the cats, you get to give yourself a little gold star, a purr, and maybe even a new yarn color. And speaking of small wins, sometimes helping someone else snag their small win can be just as sweet. So this week's Stitch Happens is actually all about giving someone else a small win. It happened to a few, 20, show my age again, years ago at the local mall. I see this sweet old lady with a walker just standing there, looking lost. I walk over to check and see if she's okay. Turns out the bus had dropped her off at the wrong hair salon. The one she needed was basically all the way across the plaza. And I'm thinking, okay, she's either about to walk the Oregon Trail with her walker, or I'm about to invent Uber 20 years early, minus the app, the rating system, and any sense of glamour. I just kept thinking, if this were my grandmother, wouldn't I want someone to help her if they could? So I loaded her, walker and all, into my car and chauffeured her like VIP treatment all the way across the parking lot, which, let's be honest, it's basically its own zip code at the mall. She was so grateful. And honestly, that was it. That was the win. Nothing flashy, nothing epic, just getting someone to the right place so she can make her hair appointment. And you know what? In her world, that was huge. So sometimes a small win isn't a promotion or a gold medal. Sometimes it's just helping someone get to the right damn hair salon and helping them snag their own little win of the day. Okay, so let's talk about some real life tiny triumphs. You know, the stuff that might seem small, but if you look closer, it's actually huge. First up can be workouts. Because of my OCD, I usually feel like I have to do them, or something terrible will happen, or all my work is just over. But last week, I actually skipped a run when my legs were telling me, no, thank you. And you know what? That was actually a win. Listening to my body, not letting my brain boss me around. That's huge in my book. So if you've ever had your anxiety or depression telling you something and you're like, nope, not today, bitch. Small win. Or a big win, depending. And for those who know me, I run. I don't run fast. I don't run pretty, but I get off my ass and I do it. And every single time, that counts as a small win because it's choosing to show up for myself. And it's a tiny triumph. Then there's this podcast. Small, but real. I'm passing the 50 listeners mark. Well, listens, gaining a few followers, not viral, not world changing, but it's progress. It's proof that I did something and it matters. And honestly, that's you guys giving me my win. Every time you hit play, follow, or share an episode, you're not just a number on a chart. You're a part of this little corner that we're building. Our crochet corner, stitch along. So quick thank you to all of you who've listened and followed. You're helping me get my small win. And maybe just maybe, we're stacking up enough of these little wins to make something huge. And that's the key, really. Reframing your day from I didn't do enough to I did something. Even the tiniest something counts. And then when you start noticing those little wins, they add up faster than you think. Before you know it, you're standing on a mountain you didn't even realize you were climbing. So again, here's where you come in. I want to hear your tiny triumphs. Did you finally tackle that junk drawer? Remember to water the plant before it turned into a crispy memorial. Anyone who knows me knows I say I have a black thumb, the thumb of death when it comes to plants. Did you make it through a meeting yourself without having to scream in a pillow? Whatever it is, send it my way. Email, DM, drop in the comments. Because when we share these little wins, it helps us remind each other that progress is not always loud or flashy. Sometimes it's just one quiet, stubborn step forward. And that, my friends, is worth celebrating. All right, it is time for Brews News. So grab your coffee, let's sip and talk some headlines. There's already plenty of noise out there about immigration and ICE this week. And it's important. But hear what might be slipping under the radar while everyone's looking the other way. So, the Epstein saga gets stranger. Right now, the book is in the headlines, but let's talk about some things that have to deal with Epstein that kind of got thrown out of the spotlight. O'Keefe Media Group, run by James O'Keefe, known for selectively edited hidden camera stings, dropped footage of Joseph Schnitt, who is a senior DOJ staff, recorded during what he thought was a dating app meetup. On tape, Schmidt claimed the department would redact every Republican or conservative name from the Epstein files, so the release would only damage Democrats, and that Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to a lower security prison to keep her mouth shut. Now, the DOJ says his comments have absolutely zero bearing on reality and were just his personal opinion based off of media reports and not insider knowledge. Schnitt himself says he was set up and that his remarks came from what he read in the news, not from his work. Two sources saying opposite things. It's kind of truth and the lies kind of thing. So he said it, what he said before and after it could be edited. Take of it what you will. Then we have House Speaker Mike Johnson, and he tossed in his own curveball. After Trump repeatedly called Epstein a scandal as a Democrat Epstein hoax, Johnson told reporters Trump was actually an FBI informant in the case, the first time anyone in leadership has made that claim. And then a few days later, Johnson's office walked it back, saying he was repeating what the victims' attorneys had said about Trump being willing to help prosecutors more than a decade ago, not that he was a formal informant. Trump is trying to distance himself as far as he can from Epstein. In this case, I think it's pointless. What is in the card is kind of gross, but it's not bad. It doesn't mean Trump did anything wrong. So this is definitely a case of the cover-up's worse than the crime. As far as the birthday card goes, not what else he's been accused of, but as far as just that birthday card, like, you're making more attention to yourself by denying it than just saying, it was how many years ago? Yeah, I wrote it. Who cares? Whether you buy it or not, it's one more stitch in a pattern of eroding the public's trust. So let's slip to something that's important, especially to me. So, you know, when you're halfway through a blanket and you realize a stitch has been slipping for like rows, you can keep going, but the whole thing is going to warp. So this week, we're going to talk about the stitch slipping in our public health system and whether anyone is actually going to fix it before the whole pattern unravels. So on Thursday of last week, not this week, the week before, Health and Human Service Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. spent 3 hours in the Senate hot seat. Lawmakers from both parties grilled him over firing the CDC director, Susan Moranez, less than a month after she was confirmed, dismantling the CDC's longstanding vaccine advisory panel, and replacing all 17 members with his own picks, some of who are extreme vaccine deniers, narrowing who can get the COVID-19 booster. Now it's generally limited to people 65 or older, or those with certain health conditions, unless they get a prescription. Kennedy says it's about restoring trust. Critics, including over 1,000 HHS employees, say it's dismantling science and public health. Now, here's the part that really hits home for me, because I am the parent of an autistic child. Kennedy also has a report that, according to the Wall Street Journal, I think it's actually come out now, I'm not sure, that claims Tylenol taken during pregnancy may cause autism. Major medical organizations, the FDA, and decades of large-scale research says there's no proven causal link. Some studies have found associations and others have not. The most robust sibling comparison studies show no increased risk. Autism is not caused by a pain reliever. Pushing that idea only fuels the stigma, when what our kids truly need is understanding, resources, and respect. So let's translate all this. So the CDC vaccines panel helps decide who gets shots, what insurance covers, and how states set rules. Firing the panel replaces it with people who share your views. You can also tilt those decisions without changing a single law. And this is a classic weakening of checks and balances. We're moving away from our democracy's health. And when you limit access to vaccines, even if you say you're not, that's an eroding civil liberties flag. It's like if your town's only coffee shop suddenly decided that they're only going to serve lattes to people who are 65 and older or with a doctor's note. Technically, well, yeah, they're still open to the public, but in practice, there's a lot of people walking up for coffee that are leaving without it. So I want to hear from you. Have you seen a local decision that looks small on paper, but change who gets access to something important, such as healthcare, schools, library? Send me your stories, voice notes, DMs, carrier pigeons, and we'll share a few. Democracy, like crochet, is all about tension. It's too loose, it's gonna fall apart and look janky. Too tight, and it's gonna warp into something unrecognizable. This week's stitch slipped in public health. Next week, if we're lucky, someone will pick it back up. As always, you can get in more information on these. I like to use Midas Touch, Legal AF, YouTube, Substack, Apple Podcast. There's also, I like Ground News. I like their Bias and Blind Spot. It's, to me personally, it's worth the money. It's where I get most of my information. So you can go there and see the sources for yourself and make your own judgment. Before we close this segment of Brews News, let me pour you one last thought. Yesterday, Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and he passed away due to his injuries. I did not agree with anything Charlie Kirk said, far from it. But in a way, he's a part of the reason why this podcast exists. Empathy is easy when it's someone that we agree with. But the real test for an empathetic person is showing it towards those people we don't. I am saddened by the news of his passing, and my heart goes out to his family. All right, let's flip the focus for a minute. Celebrating your own small wins is great, but noticing someone else's, that can be where the real magic happens. The other day, I was at a school picnic, balancing a paper plate, lukewarm coffee, and about 12 mental to-do lists. The sun was hiding in the clouds. The benches were covered in I don't know what, and my social anxiety was already whispering in my ear. Still, I stood in front of people, answering questions and offering suggestions to new online school parents. Afterwards, one of the teachers came up and asked me if she could send more parents my way if they had questions. It was a tiny moment, 10 seconds tops, but for the rest of the day, I felt lighter. I felt seen. Like maybe all the spinning plates were worth it. And it's not just me. I've been hearing from parents and teachers little notes of appreciation, quick questions, shared moments of successes. A lot of, like on Instagram and stuff, they'll have people send in those small wins. They don't take much time, but they stack up. They weave this invisible net between us all. So when one of us stumbles, there's something there to catch us. And here's the thing. Just like they say a smile is contagious, so is calling out someone's small win. It doesn't have to be a big grand gesture. Just say it out loud. Send a text. Leave a sticky note on their desk. Give the high five in the grocery store aisle. Those little boosts don't just make their day. They have a way of circling back and making your days brighter too. Tiny victories are not just personal milestones. They are social magic. Every time you notice one in someone else, you're adding another stitch to that fabric that holds us together. And the more stitches we add, the stronger and warmer that fabric becomes. So here's my challenge to you this week. Pick one person a day and maybe name a win you've seen them have, big or small. Doesn't matter. And watch what happens to them and to you. All right, before we jump into Shuffle Happens, a small win just happened, and I thought it was worth telling you guys. Between recording the last segment and this segment, my audio went haywire. It's still a little rough, but I got it back on. So, small win. All right, let's get into Shuffle Happens, your weekly card deep dive. This time, we're meeting the High Priestess, the quiet powerhouse of the tarot. The High Priestess is layered, mysterious, and always a little magical. She's the guardian of hidden knowledge, intuition, and the parts of ourselves we don't always see. Think of her as your personal inner librarian, quickly tending to the shelves of your life, holding all the truths, insight, and wisdom you've collected. even the ones you tucked away because they didn't feel practical or loud enough to matter. So we're going through my Sacred Kingdom deck. So on my deck, she is a strong, focused African woman. There's gold detailing glints beneath her right eye. She's wearing a black top with gold embroidery on it. On her lap rest 2 guardians, a white lynx, and a black cat. Both have piercing gold eyes. All 3 are gazing forward with a knowing, confident stillness. Behind her head, a large gold disc radiates like a halo. She's wearing bold gold earrings, a headband, which off to the side looks like it has 2 candlesticks with lit candles attached to it, giving steady light in the shadows. Upright, the keywords are intuition, inner wisdom, stillness, mystery, subconscious. Reversed, it's secrets revealed, ignoring intuition, confusion, and hidden agendas. This one hit me personally this week. I was standing at my pool, half wrapping my mind around it's time to close it for the season, thinking about my podcast, my workouts, and the little wins I had. And for a second, I just stopped, took a breath, and in that pause, a tiny thought surfaced. I got this. I know what I need to do next. That's the High Priestess energy. Quiet, internal, easy to miss if you're too busy rushing around. It is not a lightning bolt, but a ripple. But if you notice it, it can change your whole direction. So this week, channel a little of that energy. Slow down, observe, trust yourself. Your inner guidance is already there. You just have to notice it. And when you do, celebrate it. Because yes, a little win is still a win. And that's your card for the week. Keep your eyes open for your High Priestess moments. Tell me when you find one. Shuffle happens, but you get to decide how to read it. All right, friends, let's wrap this up. Remember, small wins aren't small. They are survival magic. Every tiny victory, every little triumph, it all counts. And tying into our bruised news, that is really big for autistic kids and parents of autistic kids. So sometimes something simple as, your kid says I love you to some autistic parents, it's their whole day. Like that little tiny thing is a big thing for them. So celebrate it, own it, and let it keep you moving forward. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. If you enjoyed the episode, hit follow or subscribe. Check out my Linktree. You'll find the podcast, my TikTok and Instagram are on there, all in one spot. Your support means the world, and I cannot wait to hang out again with you next week. Until then, keep celebrating all the small wins. Maybe snag yourself a Twinkie while you're at it. And as always, keep your stitches sassy and your coffee strong.